So the Permian ends, the Paleozoic ends, and with it comes the largest mass extinction ever in the history of the Earth. 96% potentially of all species on planet Earth go extinct then. And what follows after the Paleozoic, after the Permian, is a new era that we call the Mesozoic. Mesozoic meaning literally middle life. And it consists of three periods: the Triassic, the oldest, Jurassic, and the Cretaceous. An interesting part about this period, this Mesozoic period, you could also call it the age of the dinosaurs informally, because sometime here in the middle Triassic, we have the first dinosaurs. Then, of course, they're thriving in the Jurassic. It's probably the period where we most associate dinosaurs, and also into the Cretaceous, all the way to the end. As you might imagine, there's going to be another mass extinction at the end of the Cretaceous, and this is the one that gets rid of the dinosaurs. There's also another one here at the end of the Triassic, and I'll talk about that in a later lecture. But for now, just think about it. We have the Mesozoic, which is middle life era, consisting of these three periods. Here's some highlights of some of the things going on. Principally, they are tectonic things. So that if you look at Pangaea itself, it starts breaking apart. So heat starts rising again. The tectonic process starts happening. You start getting, and it's kind of hard to see here, but these arrows are pointing apart. You get divergent boundaries forming, including the one that's going to make up what is today still the Atlantic Ocean. So here's North America, Europe, Africa, South America, and you can see it starts separating. Ocean water seeps in, and we start separating the Americas and separating, creating this Atlantic Ocean, Proto-Atlantic Ocean here. Just another picture showing here Pangaea, pole-to-pole land area, and it's going to start separating principally in two places: a northern unzippering, as we call it, and then sort of a central equatorial unzippering here. It also is going to start happening in all of these. So it starts separating. In the Jurassic, several things are going to happen. The separation of Pangaea continues, but we have interesting life. Life is back in the oceans. Life is back on land, as I said, with the dinosaurs. And a few interesting things to hit about the Jurassic. Just a couple of pictures here. We're forming the North Atlantic here in the early Jurassic. This continues into the mid-Jurassic. Notice the separation now of these Gondwanaland continents finally start breaking apart and separating. On the land in North America, we have this situation. We have a huge eastern area, a huge land area in the east with dinosaurs, a smaller area, but just as productive as far as dinosaurs are concerned in the west, and then this vast Sundance Sea in between, and this ocean is filled with fossils. So if you're looking at Jurassic Age rocks through most of North America, you're going to get good ocean fossils. On land, of course, we have the dinosaurs, and they are part of what's called this Morrison Formation. So the Sundance Sea starts retreating away. In its place, it leaves vast lowlands, and then there's these high mountains here and all this weathering of sediment. This would be an area filled with dinosaurs. They lived, they died, their bodies get deposited. And if you've ever been out west to the Dinosaur National Monument, you see there's whole big, beautiful dinosaurs like this Camarasaur exposed for you to see and visit in this sort of badland type environment. And so this Morrison Formation, extremely, extremely important for the terrestrial side and dinosaurs. The Cretaceous then, what happens there? Well, the splitting of Pangaea ramps up into fifth gear. Tectonics takes off. It's probably the most tectonically active time that the Earth has ever had. Now think about it. When we were in the Triassic, let's go back here to this one. That's this one. We have Pangea. Tectonics is really at a minimum. So tectonics has forced all these land masses together. They've pushed up, they've drained the continental shelves. That was part of the important killing mechanisms at the end of the Permian. But what's going to happen as this splits and there's divergent boundaries everywhere breaking this apart, it forces sea level up higher. We see some evidence of this in the Jurassic with the Sundance Sea. Then, of course, it retreats again. But in the Cretaceous, it's going to really take off, and we have the highest global sea levels that we've ever really had. So just a couple pictures again from the late Jurassic into the early Cretaceous. More splitting and separating. These continents are starting to be in the locations where you expect them to be, not the Pangea locations that we're used to. And then in the Cretaceous, we have several important things happening, particularly here in Western North America. We still have this twofold eastern area, western area, dinosaurs on both, but especially prominent in this western area. And we have things like today exposed, the Hell Creek Formation are these terrestrial sediments here, and they're filled with things such as our wonderful Tyrannosaurus rex fossils are from this area. But in the oceans, we have the Mancos Shale, and they are filled with all kinds of wonderful life, like these huge, beautiful ammonites here. The Cretaceous and the Jurassic and the Triassic are wonderful examples of Mesozoic life. We don't really have enough time to go through them in this particular class, but if you are looking for classes in the spring semester, I am offering Geology 307, Dinosaurs. It is 16 weeks on just the Mesozoic, and so we mostly learn about the dinosaurs, but we also learn about the other creatures that lived in the Mesozoic. It's another 3-credit Gen Ed class, GN. So look at your AAR if you need something like that. Give that one a strong consideration. I am also offering Geology 317, the advanced paleontology class that majors take. And so here you've got this T-Rex, of course, screaming at you, become a major, a minor, if you have the chance. If you don't, I'm fine with that. But if you think this might be for you, talk to me about it, and I can get you in the class. Anyway, that ends this brief introduction to the Mesozoic. Again, you can take these other classes if you want to hit different aspects of them. But the Mesozoic itself is going to end as this picture shows. You can see here this giant asteroid is skipping through the atmosphere, and at some point in the future of this slide and in the distance away from these beautiful creatures, this is going to hit the Earth, and it's going to cause the next big mass extinction. And that's what we need to talk about next.